Martin, are you ready? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May 11th monthly meeting of our public hearing of the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Commission. We're charged with regulating the subdivision of property in unincorporated Jefferson County. Today you will be given a decision of the commission regarding subdivision requests, and the plat representatives will receive the decision in writing within 10 business days. Please note that any subdivisions approved today are not complete. In order to complete that subdivision of your property, you have to file. It's me. I did not have my mic on. Bad. Sorry about that. Back road. You want me to go cover that again? Are you good? All right. It's on now. Oh. I just didn't have it on earlier. Sorry about that. So anyway, once the decision's made today, if it's approved, you have to file the final plat in the office of the judge of probate, and the county staff here will coordinate that with the surveyor for your plats. The commission is also charged with evaluating requests for rezoning property and advising the county commission for their final determination. All decisions made here by the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding zoning cases are advisory only, and the final determination of that zoning will be made by the Jefferson County Commission in a subsequent public hearing, for which all property owners within 500 feet will be notified. I already heard one phone go off, so this is the point where I ask, if you have a phone or something that makes noise, would you put it on silent so as not to disturb our hearing today? All right, we'll get busy and start with a roll call, please.
Joe Andrews.
Present.
Joe Blankenship.
Present.
Dr. Brenda Dickerson.
Present.
Christy Forsythe.
Present.
Patrick Gilbert.
Present.
Ken Lowry.
Here.
Cameron Buchanan.
Buchina here.
Georgia McCoy O'Neill.
Here.
Trudy Strain.
Here.
Cynthia Donald. Here. Mark Sigler.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Awesome, thank you. So may I first have a motion regarding the reading of the minutes from the April 13th public hearing?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes from the April 13th meeting and approve as written.
Okay. All right, I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Great. So next we're going to hear our subdivision cases. The county staff will present the case to the commission, and then we will call for opposition. And the applicant or their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. So before I call the first case, if everybody can remember this so I don't have to repeat it all the time. If you come up to the podium, we need two things: your name and your address. And if I forget or you forget, then somebody's going to remind us. But let's go for no reminders today. So, all right. So our first case today will be subdivision case S230022. The applicant is Michael Holmes. This is for 6.21 acres in the Gardendale area.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed subdivision, a two-lot subdivision from 2 acreage tracts. It complies with our zoning regulations for A1 zoning. There was a note from traffic about the access to Lot 2. If there was going to be a shared access here on the existing driveway, they would need to add an easement. It has been made known to me that their intention is to put in a new driveway. As such, that driveway will have to be approved by the Department of Roads and Transportation. Right-of-way dedication will be required 25 feet from the center line where adjacent to the property. There's no floodplain and there's no sewer available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. The staff recommendation for this two-lot subdivision is approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrews. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? All right, great. Is the applicant here? All right, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners for the applicant or otherwise? All right. Having none, ask for a motion for case S230022.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S23-0022.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. And after we've heard your subdivision case, if you want to bail out the front door or the side door, you're welcome to, or you can stay for the rest of the activities. Next subdivision case is S230023, applicant Larry Davis. This is 2.16 acres in the corner area.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed subdivision ultimately to convey 2 acreage tracts into 2 lots of record, as well as move a boundary line between the 2 acreage tracts. It complies with our A1 zoning requirements. There's no anticipated road access, traffic operation issues. Right-of-way has already been dedicated for Mount High Road, and there's no floodplain and no sewer, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. The staff recommendation for this 2-lot subdivision is approval.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? All right, hearing none, is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the commissioners for the applicant or staff? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion for subdivision case S230023?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S23-0023.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Next subdivision case, S230024, applicant Charles Faulkner. This is in the Azure area with 3 lots proposed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed subdivision to split 1 acreage tract into 3 lots of record for residential use. You can see this is a larger acreage tract. Lot sizes are approximately 3 and 7 acres. This is A1 zoning. All these lots do comply with the zoning regulations. It's been noted that any driveway access, any driveways that are constructed on these lots will need to, it's required that they are situated in a location that satisfies the minimum site distance triangles, and then that location will be approved by resident transportation. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Etheridge Road, 25 feet from the center line where adjacent to the property. No floodplain, and there's no sewer, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval for this subdivision.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case today? All right, is the applicant present? All right, very good, thank you. Are there any questions from the commissioners for the applicant or staff? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion for S230024?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S23-0024.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. So our next subdivision case is S230025. The applicant is Johnny Morgan, and this is a 1-lot proposed subdivision in the Bessemer area.
Yes, sir. This is a resurvey to combine 2 lots of record into 1 lot for residential use. This is from the El Rey Heights subdivision, recorded back in 1929. So these are old lots. They comply with our zoning regulations for R6, the zoning type in this parcel. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. We did make a note that Crest Avenue has been, that's shown here on this plat, has been vacated for quite some time. And as such, the center line of that road towards the property can be included within this plat. So that note was made to the surveyor. There's no floodplain, and there is no sewer available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the final plat. Staff does recommend approval for this resurvey.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case today? Is the applicant present? Did I not see a hand? Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? All right. Hearing none, may I have a motion on S230025?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S230025.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next subdivision case today is S230026. This is a case for 2 lots proposed. Austin Trowell is the applicant in the McCalla area.
Yes, sir. This is a resurvey to combine 5 lots of record within the Creek Trace Phase 4 subdivision. To combine those into 2 lots of record for residential use. You can see here 2 lots up on the north end of this plat would be combined, and then the lower 3 around this Creek Trace Boulevard cul-de-sac would be combined as well. There's no anticipated access issues. It does comply with our zoning regulations. No right-of-way dedication required, no floodplain, no septic, so the Department of Health will have to approve the final plat and the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval for this resurvey.
All right, thanks. Is there any opposition here today to this subdivision case? Is the applicant present? Okay. Any questions from any of the commissioners? All right, may I have a motion on S230026?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S230026.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next subdivision case is S230027. Applicant Jamie Brewer. This is 3 lots proposed in the Pinson area.
Yes, sir. This is a resurvey, some old lots from 1953 into 2 newer lots, so kind of a realignment of those, as well as 2 conservation lots not for development. As you can see here, there is a creek below the property, and a portion of the property is within a floodplain designation. As such, it has been put into 2 conservation lots, not for development, that would be tied to Lot 1 and Lot 3. These lots do comply with our zoning regulation. Our zoning regulations are, there's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. The access easement, a note was made that should be increased to 30 feet right there, just for a slightly larger easement. There's no no sewer available on this site, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval with the stipulation that the conservation lots C1 and C3 be tied by deed to one of the developable lots within that subdivision.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? Is our applicant present? Great, thanks. Any questions from any of the commissioners? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion on the case?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S230027 with the stipulation that conservation lots C1 and C3 be tied by deed to a developable lot within the subdivision.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Welcome. Next subdivision case is S230028, applicant Robert Lake. This is 2 lots proposed in the West Jefferson area.
Yes, sir. This is a subdivision to split an acreage tract into 2 lots of record. See here, it's a rather large piece of acreage. Lot 1 here, Lot 2 there. There's no issues with the zoning regulations in terms of the size of the lots. There's no anticipated road access issues. Both of the lots do access from a Walker County road, and as such, it's custom with our department and previous practice is to allow that engineer from Walker County to sign the final plat, just to ensure there's no issues, road access issues on their part. Other than that, right-of-way dedication would not be required, and there's no floodplain and no sewer, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic system. Staff does recommend approval for this two-lot subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. So is there any opposition to the subdivision case today? All right, is our applicant here? Great, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? So y'all are usually more talkative. Okay, so may I have a motion on S230028?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S230028.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Our next subdivision case is S230029. Applicant Shoal Engineering. This is one lot proposed in the Bessemer area.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed subdivision to bring together 11 acreage tracts into one lot of record for a residential project. For some reason, I lost control of my, there we go. You may remember this property, it came before the planning and zoning last October. It was rezoned to R7 PUD for the purpose of this residential complex. This is an age-restricted planned unit development near the Bessemer area. Normally, you can combine these by acre tracts by deed, but because of the complexity of the site and also because there is currently some right-of-way that's being vacated within the center of the site, the applicant has chose to go through a subdivision and have this platted. So there's no issues in terms of zoning. The proposed locations for access is being reviewed within the site plan by Reds Transportation. At this time, there's no issues with that. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Shannon Road and Shannon Winona Road, where adjacent to the property. And as I mentioned earlier, the process of vacating Burrow Drive and Franklin Lane is underway. Those are the little small center roads there in the middle of the property. Other than that, staff recommendation for this subdivision is approval.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there any opposition to this case today? Is our applicant here? Thank you. Any questions from any of the commissioners? Okay. All right. May I have a motion on S230029?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve S230029.
Second.
All right. A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right. So we have completed essentially all our subdivision cases, and we're moving into our zoning cases. Just a quick brief. As we go into these, staff will present the case to the commission, and we will then call for opposition, and the applicant or their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. And just so you know, there's a time limit of 15 minutes for opposition and for the applicant for coming to the podium. I don't look like y'all have that kind of energy today, so that's good. So, and just want to make sure you know that the commission only makes recommendations on zoning cases, and the final decision is made with the Jefferson County Commission. Okay, we'll get started calling the first case. This is zoning case Z220041. Applicant is Joseph Miller. This is it's a current zoning is A1 and right of way to be vacated, and it's in the Hoover area.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So this is a rezoning request from A1 to CP Commercial Preferred at the location 1925 and 1927 Patton Chapel Road. Your aerial map shows you the property that's outlined in, I think it says yellow or orange, maybe gold. To the north of this property is Valley United Methodist Church, just to orient you. To the south, you have a row of single-family dwellings along the southeast border of the site. It's center at River Chase Shopping Center. On the northeast is Grayson Construction. Unfortunately, the county's future land use map doesn't have a designation for this property, and typically in these cases, we compare the development to the surrounding character of the area. We compare the use to the surrounding character of the area, and in this case, it was consistent or compatible. Your existing future land use map shows the properties vacant. On two sides of the white area that you see is the right-of-way that has been vacated. I'll just go on to the next slide and point it out on the next one here. Your current land use map shows the property is currently zoned A1 agricultural. And these are your street-level photos of the site. One view is from Sarah Lawn Drive. The other view is facing the site is from Patton Chapel Road. This is the existing survey of the site. So you have I believe you have Lot 5A and Lot 5B, which will be combined ultimately, which will create Lot 5C. This is a site plan of the site. Shows you a 5,000 square foot building there in the southeast corner of this PowerPoint slide, with parking surrounding the building. Access would be from Sierra Leone Drive. It's a very basic site plan. Lot 5C will be recorded with lots 5D and 5E. However, 5E and 5D are in the city of Hoover. 5C is the only property that's within the unincorporated Jefferson County area. So, Mr. Chairman, the staff is recommending approval of this use in zone district, the CP preferred commercial zone district. There were 2 letters of opposition and 1 letter of support. As mentioned earlier, that 1 letter of support was from the city of Hoover. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Oh, is there any opposition to this case? All right, you remember what I said at the beginning, right?
I do.
All right.
My name is Stan Riddle, and I live at 1846 Shancroft Circle, Pelham. You need the zip code?
Sure.
35124. Currently, that one's okay. The piece of property that we are opposing is, and I'm here with Miss Northington. Miss Northington is one of the 4 houses. Miss Northington is the homeowner of one of the 4 houses that's on the street off of Patton Chapel there that will.
So
Right where it
I'm a
says
visual
Sarah Lawn
person.
Drive.
Can you use the laser pointer he gave you to
How do I
point
use
it out for us? Just don't put anybody's
okay.
eyes out.
It's this piece of property right here.
Okay?
And that makes it, where was the one where you had the pictures? Okay, and then right here, well, it doesn't actually show it. All right, first of all, Miss Northington and Mr. Northington have been living in this house since 1972. A lot of things have changed in and around Hoover since then, but that is a very long time to have a house. Yes, sir, it would be the second house. Yes, sir, that one right there. That's Miss Northington's house. This piece of property was just a vacant lot. I moved to Hoover in 1976, and it was a vacant lot until the Patton Chapel Road was redone, and then the bridge down at the end of Patton Chapel was done. That piece of property was used to stage equipment. It's had dump trucks, excavators, anything that you can think of to build a road, it's had sitting there. Having said all of that, there are also, I've been told that over time there were portalets and everything else. Has there been an environmental study there of that piece of property? Because all of that is backfill and everything else. When you put all of that equipment there, there's a possibility that there could be environmental issues there. When you throw in the portalets, then you bring in other things. That was the first, the picture that showed the plotting of where the building would be and so on. You're going to park cars directly up against Sierra Leone Drive, right here. If you can find the one that's where it's got the plant. Yeah, right here. Okay, you're showing that you're going to have parking all along this area right here, which butts directly up to this. Are there any codes that say a 5,000 square foot building can be put on, if I'm not mistaken, it's not even an acre, it's what, 0.8?
Okay, so we'll
Are there
address
any-
your questions on the
Okay.
environmental study and the parking, okay?
All right, and then you've answered how big the piece of property is. Okay. All right. Why would you pull off of a brand new road that the county and so on, state and everybody else that had to sign off on it do, and you want to put a commercial building where you have access off of a side road, which is only there to serve these 4 houses? It goes nowhere on either end. And now you're going to bring in commercial traffic into this little tiny street, which is basically just a big driveway for everybody on that street. And you're going to bring them in here to do this. That's not a good option in our opinion. Currently, with the layout and it just being barren, for the whole term of the projects, the road project and the bridge project, there has been, as I mentioned earlier, anything and everything dumped onto this lot. Now, it has been leveled out. There's been kudzu. It's been grown up since day one of that project. But now that we're bringing this in, water used to drain from Patton Chapel down the hill because it was sloped down off of that. Because of all of the dirt and everything else that's been brought in, it's been leveled off now. I understand all of that. But I think if anything's been dumped on there that's not supposed to, we all know it's going to leach in whatever direction it's supposed to go. That's one of our concerns. And the water runs straight off. This would be Miss Northington's property right here. The water runs right off across her front yard and then down into a ditch. There's no room for any other traffic in here. It's really no bigger than a big driveway. And I would go so far as to say that there has been I guess what I would call economic diminishment from what's been put here to start off with, not to mention what will happen to Miss Northington's piece of property after that is put there. And I guess what I need to ask and know from you guys is, what does the county intend to do for Miss Northington? And I don't need a response today. I need it in writing. And that's all I got. Can I get that in writing? A response back from the commissioners of what, if anything, you intend to do for Miss Northington?
Okay, so everything done here is on the record today. So
Okay.
what we talk about, there'll be a record that
Okay.
you can get a copy of. Okay.
Can I say something too? I'm Kim
Okay.
Worthington.
Yep, come on,
And-
closer to the
and
mic.
1919 in Patton Chapel Road is my mother's home where I grew up. Like he said, that Sarah Long Drive is access for just 4 homes. When 2 neighbors are leaving at one time, we have to wait in our driveway and wait on the neighbor, to leave to even, it's a very small, like a 8-10 foot little alleyway type road there. And they're talking about the access for a 5,000 foot office building being on Sarah Long Drive where neighbors can't even hardly work with each other without we got to stop and wait on, this neighbor to go before we can go, and we're going to put traffic on that little tiny road.
One at a time.
And then the drainage he spoke of, that was not there. This land used to be covered with kudzu and trees, and it was just, wild like woods. Since they cleared it, and they've been dropping a lot of heavy equipment and materials and stuff on it, shaking the house. There's not been any new drainage put in. And the drainage has started now where it used to go down a ravine off Patton Chapel Road. They filled it in where it's flat, but no foliage. And it's going to be cemented, I guess, with concrete. The drainage is new coming from that piece of property over to my mother's property and has made a new path when it rains going through her front yard. And we don't know where this dirt came from. Like he said, what environmental concerns there are with the new dirt that's been dumped there.
Especially if it's been a construction site.
Okay, so I've taken down notes from your concerns, and we're going to bring the applicant up and let them talk about it. And then if we'll get some staff input for you. And so typically, this is your shot for asking questions if you have anything else. If not, that's it.
We just want in writing what's going to be done with the effects to the homeowner's property that we were already experiencing. And it's just going to get worse.
Okay, well, so
Like the water drainage and that traffic that the neighbors can barely use, and we're going to have 5,000 square footage of employees coming and going in that little tiny alleyway.
okay, I understand your points.
Okay, thank you.
And unless you had something different you wanted to add.
Yes, sir, that's all.
Okay, all right. And I know you said in writing, we don't write letters out from the commission, but again, this is a public hearing. Meeting minutes are being taken and they're being published, so all that's available, okay? So is there anyone else in opposition that would like to be heard today? All right, how about our applicant? And you remember, right?
Yes, 15 minutes, Joseph Miller, MTTR Engineers, I'm Civil Engineer and Land Surveyor, 3 River Chase Ridge, Hoover, 35244. This property, if I could see what do I need to do to change it? Yeah, I want to change the slide so I can talk about the whole, that's it, okay. All right, what we have is New Patton Chapel was built, and when it was, okay. All right, yeah. That's New Patton Chapel right away. When it was built, there's the old Patton Chapel. It's hard to see, but that's a dashed line.
Yep.
When the right of way was dedicated, a record map was made, and there were 2 remnant lots left. They're non-compliant. They're zoned A1. They're both less than 20,000 square feet. They're supposed to be an acre. So, it just happened. I can't tell you how it happened. But that's what happened. So, Grayson, this is a lot in Hoover. There's going to be a park. And Mr. Parrish, who owns these 2 remnant lots, have all gone together and decided to vacate as much right-of-way as practical. We've met with Roads and Transportation and hashed out exactly what right-of-way is available to be vacated. And that's what we're here for. We're also here to rezone this property. The property was being used as a staging area. Patton Chapel Road is a county road. It was used as a staging area for the improvements of Patton Chapel by the county. The county Roads and Transportation contractor was using it to store his equipment on, that kind of thing. At some point, we'll do an environmental phase 1 study, and if we have to, we'll do a phase 2 when we get ready to build. But there's no need to do a phase 1 or phase 2 on property that's not zoned, and that we don't know what's going to be zoned or not. And I think that's an unnecessary burden on the applicant to ask him to pay for something that may not be useful. Because either it can be remediated or it can't.
So let's talk about that. So really, the statement is that there will be an environmental study done.
That's right. Exactly.
It's not going to be done pre-zoning.
No, I think it's unreasonable. That's my view now. Y'all can say what you want to, and you can say we need to have one. I don't think it's reasonable.
Well, we're going to talk about the requirements.
Okay. All right. So that's my answer to. Are we going to do anything about it?
Okay.
Yeah, because there was equipment stored there, and there were porta potties stored there, and gosh knows what dripped onto the ground. You're right. He's exactly correct. As far as the drainage, we'll have to meet all the requirements of the county, and we'll have to design a drainage system to mimic what's happening now, which is sheet draining off the property, and we'll have to design a storm management system to replicate what's going on now, so there's no adverse effects to any downstream drainage, and that's pretty much a standard county requirement.
And would you characterize the improvements that you're going to make will likely improve the drainage situation that exists now?
That would be my assessment, yes, sir. Because at one time there was pavement here, and it's been all compacted dirt now because of all the equipment being stored. So the runoff's just running wherever it runs, and I can't even tell you because I really hadn't looked at it. Now, as far as us coming off Saraland, the reason I picked to come off that was there's a driveway there right here. We'd have a driveway here. We'd have a driveway here. We'd have to have a driveway you'd have 3 driveways within 100-something feet of each other. That just seems unsafe. Now, the county engineer, traffic engineer can look at it. And, if he thinks what I've done is unreasonable,
we will discuss that.
That's how we ended up on Saraland, is because there's already a driveway here, and you've got a public road right of way. Now that's a public right of way, and so it's not denied access. So the access is there, and so that's why we're coming off here, rather than have a curb cut somewhere here, and you already got a curb cut across the street, and you'll have 3 curb cuts within 100 and something feet. Everybody starts turning left and right. You're asking for a traffic accident. That's just my opinion.
Okay, all right. Thank you for explaining that.
Let me see what else we had here.
How about parking?
Well, we'll have to have. Can you show me where? This one. Oh, other way. Yeah. Sorry.
And let's make it a combo. When we talk about parking, let's talk about traffic. How much.
Okay, there we are.
How much traffic you expect to be coming in and out?
Well, we've got about 10 parking spaces. It's going to be a professional office building, insurance agent, maybe lawyer, doctor. I mean, it's going to be a professional office building. It's not going to have a huge amount of traffic. It's not going to be like it's a retail store. We'll have to meet all the landscape requirements. I did see on the thing that the staff recommended a privacy fence, which we'll be happy to do. We'll have to meet all the requirements of the landscape ordinance, which includes setbacks and, trees and everything else. So that's about all I can say to that, But
Okay,
but you can see right here, this is what I was trying to talk about, is there's already a driveway here. You've got road access here. I mean, it's easier to see what I was trying to say on this map than on the other one. Anyway, so I'll be glad to answer any questions y'all might have, because I think I've tried to answer everything that was brought up.
I have a couple,
Yes,
and
sir.
then I'll let the commissioners ask theirs, and then I've got some staff questions to go along with that. You didn't provide an elevation drawing of the structure. How many stories is it going to be?
1 story.
How many?
One.
1 story?
One.
Okay.
Yes.
So 1 level? Okay. And would you be opposed to a condition to bring back said architectural drawings for review and approval by the commission?
Sure. I mean, if that's what y'all need.
Okay. We want it compatible with the area, so I'm sure that's your plan, but trust but verify.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I think you covered everything. I've got some questions for staff, but I'm going to hold and let's see if the commissioners have any questions for the applicant. Okay. So roads and transportation, you're up first.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So access road. Preferences, thoughts on the access from the side road? Is it adequate sized? Is traffic an issue? Would you prefer it to be off the main road or not, and why?
Right. Conceptually, the tying into has been pronounced a few different ways. I'll say Sarah Lawn Drive would be optimal for the operation of Patton Chapel. The turnout for Sarah Lawn through the reconfiguration of Patton Chapel Road is not 9 feet. It's going to be 24-foot wide, which will accommodate two-way traffic, and based upon their parking spaces, it seems as though it would function fine, and it would be pending a traffic assessment if the project continues to move forward.
So is a traffic assessment required by regulations?
That would be, it's development specific as they go through a site review permitting.
Okay, so when they make application to build this, y'all would review it and determine whether one's needed?
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
sir. And I would anticipate that, looking at this, that we would request one from the applicant.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Also, let's talk about the water and the drainage. Yeah, I asked the applicant, would he expect that the drainage to actually improve once we develop the site? Would you have any thoughts on that?
As mentioned, going through our permitting process, that's evaluated, looking at the proposed grading plans and improvements, and we verify to make sure that there aren't going to be any adverse impacts to downstream properties from any proposed developments.
Okay, and last one for you is the environmental concerns that were mentioned, previous use of the lot during construction and development of the road.
Right, as mentioned, that site was used as a laydown yard for the construction of the Patton Chapel Phase 3 from Cray Rich down up past the schools.
And regulations as part of the permitting process would require an environmental study. Is that correct?
I don't know.
All right, well, let me turn tables back to Mr. Miller.
This project wouldn't be self-funded. So any time you borrow money from a bank, they're going to require an environmental study. We'd be glad to furnish that to the county if that's what you need.
Okay, so we could you'd be okay with a condition to do
Yes,
that?
I mean, you could actually put that as part of the requirement for us to do it, if that
Okay.
made you.
Okay. All right, staff, what did I forget to ask about? Did we cover everything that the applicant was talking about and everything the opposition talked about? So, Mr. Miller, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
This is a rare case since I'm going to allow opposition. Look like you want to come up and say one more thing, so I'll allow it. So let's keep it brief.
I will, I promise. The Sarah Lawn Drive, as I had mentioned before, is only there to serve the 4 houses that's on there. You're talking about putting a building there now that's going to bring in traffic that's not going to any of those 4 houses. I don't even know if the city of Hoover maintains that. I know it's got a name. I found that out when all this paperwork came through, because their address is actually off Chapel Road. Now, if you're going to bring all that back in there, you're going to have to widen that street and everything else. I don't know how that works when it goes between
Okay, well, we'll talk
the
about it.
county and the city of Hoover. I don't know how that works, but that would have to be done, and it would, I can tell you, that's, I don't know about the rules and regulations and the laws and so on, but everybody on that street will tell you it'd be a hell of a lot better for them to turn off of Patton Chapel than to turn down in.
Well, it's a differing opinion, so, but I appreciate your comments, Mr. Riddle, and I'll hang on just a second. Roads and transportation, so who owns the road, the side road there? Is it the county or city of Hoover?
My understanding is the city of Hoover.
Okay, is it you said that the turnoff is now 25 foot wide?
Approximately 24 feet between the curb.
Okay, and
The-
so
the turnout where
do you know if the road is also 24 foot?
As it goes down and tees off to the drives that service the houses, it is narrower. But the portion where that illustration shows the proposed driveway tying in, it's approximately 24 feet.
Okay, so there would be adequate, there'd be 12-foot lanes on the left and right for cars
Yes,
to
sir, that's the
pass.
standard lane width.
Okay, all right. And if it wasn't acceptable, it would be up to the city of Hoover to make adjustments, right? Or the applicant,
More than likely, it would fall on the applicant.
when they do go to permitting to
Provided that was
build.
necessary.
Okay, because, I mean, that's the regulatory requirement, is that the road has to be able to pass the traffic that goes through it. So, did you hear that, Mr. Riddle? Mr. Riddle, did you hear that? Did you hear what I was saying? Okay, so there's requirements in the permitting and regulatory process that the road has to be adequate to pass the traffic. So if it's deemed that way, and this is a multi-jurisdictional development, okay? So City of Hoover, Jefferson County. City of Hoover is responsible for the road. So when the applicant makes application to build this, if the road's deemed not suitable, wide enough for the traffic, then it would be put upon the applicant to increase the width of the road or make road improvements up to and including their property. So that would address your concern, I believe. So now, I've already closed I haven't officially closed the public hearing, but come up and tell me what you got and tell me who you are. And
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Dustin Love. I'm with Grayson Investments, and we are a neighboring property right on the northern portion of this development.
so you're kind of with the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're not part of the application process, but we have been involved with the discussions for the development of what they're proposing to do here. And I just wanted to bring and show a couple of things that's perfect. So we're Lot 5E, as shown at the north part of this top button. So one of the things that I know that hasn't been necessarily addressed here is that the lots that are down here, the homes that are down in this area, have been of concern with the people that are developing this, that they want to make sure that this is an improvement to the property. Our property currently has a fence that runs along the old Patton Chapel where the laydown yard for the construction has been. We've experienced damage to the fence, all kinds of different things have happened. The lot doesn't look quite as good as it used to as construction is going on, and I think the idea of the people that actually own the property, Mr. Parrish, who's making the applicant here, is he's trying to make this property look like what we all would want it to look like and improve the area. Also, the city of Hoover has been involved to try and develop some type of park here, which I think would be very beneficial to not only our property values, but the property values of the other properties surrounding it. So we're very excited about this. I think they have been more than fair with coming to us and talking with us about it, and I think they want to do the right thing for the neighboring property. I think they have your best interest at heart. So I just wanted to say that. I felt like it was necessary, that I do believe that this applicant is trying to do the right thing and trying to make this blight that is currently an abandoned roadway become something that is fruitful for our city and our area here. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
I don't think we got your complete name.
Yes, it's 1945 Patton Chapel Road.
And what was your name again?
Dustin Love.
Dustin Love. All right. Thank you, Mr. Love. All right, so I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Before we ask for a motion, I just want to make sure I understood it correctly. So in addition to what we already talked about in pre-meeting, the applicants agreed to bring back an architectural rendering as well?
Yes.
In addition to the environmental study?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I have then. All right. Prepared to present a motion then. All right, Mr. Chairman, I can make a motion for approval and to change the zoning of case of Z220041 with the following stipulations. 1, to install a 15-foot buffer, including a solid visual barrier of landscaping aided by a solid fence. 2, install directional lighting, directed lighting down and away from adjacent residences. 3, facade material should be compatible with neighboring businesses along Patton Chapel Road. 4, the applicant has agreed to bring back an architectural rendering. And 5, the applicant has agreed to bring back an environmental study as well.
I second.
Wait, can we amend? So the architectural rendering will be submitted for Planning and Zoning Commission review and approval.
Okay.
And the environmental plan will be submitted to, okay. Well, we'll just say that an environmental study will be provided to the county.
All right, I accept.
How would you prefer it?
Michael, you can speak to this, but I don't think it's necessary to put that in the condition because it's already going to be a condition of the process that we have.
Okay, I understand it wasn't certain, so that's why it was.
The applicant agreed to do it. That's why we included it in there. We don't want to create an unfair hurdle, but
Do you want the environmental study to come back to you?
No, we would like to ensure that an environmental study is done and is provided to the county.
During the site plan review?
During site,
okay.
prior to site development. Okay, all right. All right, so do you amend your motion?
I amend my motion as follows. We'll follow the requirements we just said. Okay.
I second that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next subdivision case, I'm sorry. We have a subdivision case associated with this zoning case that we're going to hear now, and it's S220053. Mr. Brown, would you present the case, please?
Okay, yes, sir. So the applicant is Zach Parrish. The request is to resurvey lots 5A and 5B of the Douglas Commons on Patton Chapel, in which 3 lots are proposed. One of the lots being in unincorporated Jefferson County, and 2 of the lots in the city of Hoover. Current zoning is A1 agricultural. The address is 1925 and 927 Patton Chapel Road. Of course, this is the complementary case, if you will, to the rezoning case that was just heard, Z2241. Staff is recommending approval, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. Is anyone here in in opposition of this subdivision case? All right, I know the applicant's here, right? Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Sir.
All right, may I have a motion on
Mr.
S20?
Chairman, Can I add one thing to that?
Yes, just by a hair.
Okay. Just in regards to the approval recommendation, because this has the companion rezoning case, it really needs to be contingent upon Lot 5C being rezoned to CP. So we would just put that as a contingency before the final plat is recorded. So I just wanted to state that for the record.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Now, may I have a motion on S220053?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve S220053 contingent upon the zoning case Z220041.
I second, Mr. Chair.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Our next zoning case today is Z230011. The applicant, I'm not sure I can pronounce your name, so I'm not going to mess it up. But I think it's Mai is the last name. This is a request of change of zoning to A1 to bring an existing residence into compliance. And this is in the on McCullough Road in the Bessemer area.
Yes, sir. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, this is a request to rezone property to allow a single-family dwelling. It's an existing dwelling at 101 McCullough Road. The aerial shows the parcel with the structure on it. Presently, it's at the intersection of Perimeter Way and McCullough Road. This is your FLU map or future land use map, and that property has a designation of single-family residential. This is the existing land use map, which shows you that there's already a single-family dwelling on the property. And your current zoning map shows that the property is commercial. Residential uses are not permitted in the commercial zone district in the county, and therefore rezoning is required to a single residential zone district. This is what the property looks like today on the street level. This is the bird's eye view of the property, which shows not only the single-family dwelling, but an attached accessory garage. There were 0 letters of opposition submitted for this rezoning request. Staff is recommending approval. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there any opposition to this zoning case today? Is the applicant present? Any questions from any of the commissioners? May I have a motion on Z230011?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the change of zoning on case Z230011.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next zoning case today is Z230012. The applicant is Infinite Prosperity LLC. Request a change in zoning to C1 to remove a split zoning to bring in compliance an existing package store and transport moving company into compliance. This is in the Forestdale area. Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir. So the property currently has three different zoning classifications, C1, R2, and C4. The owner is, as you mentioned, requesting rezoning to the C1 commercial zone district to allow both package store and auto transport business at 1508 Forestdale Boulevard. The aerial shows you that there are two structures on the property currently. Your future land use map shows a designation of commercial. Your existing land use map shows that the back side, I guess, of the property is vacant. The front side of the property has commercial uses on it. And so this is your current zoning map, which shows the three zoning classifications. R2, C1, those dots that you see on the map actually represents the C4 zone district. Just to point that out, it's not an anomaly. That's actually the zoning classification. All right, so here's your street level view. So the Mr. Spirits building that you see is the building that fronts onto Forestdale Boulevard, and the building in the below right corner, is the building behind the Mr. Spirits building. If not mistaken, in the applicant, if he's here, he can clarify. The package store would, of course, go in the Mr. Spirits building, and the auto transport business, the logistics business, would go in the building behind. So you have your eagle eye view of the site. I believe they proposed to park 5 auto transport vehicles on their site, and they would go behind the building at 1508 Forestdale Boulevard, but in front of the vacant abandoned building shown on this aerial eagle eye view. Mr. Chairman, there were 0 letters of opposition supported for this rezoning request, and staff is recommending approval.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there any opposition to this rezoning case? Is the applicant present? Would you come up? I have a couple of questions for you. And you know what I want from you first, right?
How you guys doing? My name is Devin Robinson, the co-applicant of this application. I'm the owner of the transport movement company. So what you got for me?
I need an address.
Ma'am.
Address.
1508 Forestdale Boulevard.
All right, thanks. Mr. Robinson, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks and welcome. In one of the photographs, it shows the back of the Mr. Spirit store. There's a portable building in the back on blocks.
Yes, sir.
What's that being used for?
The white one, correct?
Yes.
The mini storage. That is used as our office space. It is a 12 by 20, so it's a cute little shed, but it's totally used for office space.
Is that for the liquor store or for your business?
That's for my business.
Okay. All right. And tell me a little bit about your business that you're going to run from the building in the back.
So the building behind it?
Yes.
The warehouse?
Yes.
So as of right now, we're in the phase of just bringing it back out. I think we're going to keep everything the same. We're not changing nothing much. We're going to bring it back up to code as far as just securing it more, fireproofing. Where we use it for right now is just storage. Freight comes in, and when I say freight, we deal with furniture. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, we just deal with furniture. So what happens is we'll get trucks coming in, we'll load it here, then my company will get it, and we'll ship it back out. So right now, the building just used as storage. It's about, I think last time I checked, it was maybe 700 square feet of just an empty storage space.
Okay. And it looks like from the pictures that the liquor store has already been remodeled and is back operating now, right?
Say it one more time, I can't hear you.
It sounds like from the pictures, it looks like the liquor store's been renovated and is back operating.
Yes, so the liquor store, they just did, they just painted. They changed out their windows, I think either last month or early month before it. They just changed out their windows and repainted. And I was going to go ahead and paint this building, but like I said, we just put everything on hold until we finally got finalized with
Yeah.
the whole rezoning thing.
I understand that. Okay. Before you sit down, just in case there's a follow-up, I had a question for staff. Is there any issue with the portable building or the temporary building being in the back working as office space? No. Okay, excellent. All right. Any questions for the applicant from any of the commissioners?
Now, I would add
She went to
one
Dr. Dixon, ask a
last
question.
thing, if
Okay.
I could.
Sure, go ahead.
For the portable building, all we would do is add power to it. That's it. But the building in the back won't have no power, no plumbing, no nothing. And that's for the same as the storage here, because like I tell Mr. Spears, we're only here for about 30 minutes. We're in and out. We'll come in early in the morning, pick up our load, we're out. So there's no need for plumbing.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Dr. Dickerson, did you have a?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if there's not any other questions, I would like a motion on Z230012.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like a motion to approve the change in zoning on case number Z230012.
Second, Mr. Chair.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Motion passes. Next zoning case is Z230013. The applicant, Mr. Nesmith, this is a request to change the zoning to A1 for residential use, 2 residential lots, and 1 42-acre conservation lot proposed. This is in the Mount Olive area.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you said, this property is to be rezoned from CU to A1. The property is located at 981 Westwood Road. This is an area view of the lot. As you notice, there is floodplain on the lot near the southern part of the property. This will be a conservation lot. Can you guys hear me? Here's the bird's eye view. It shows it's 80.55 acres. The existing land use is vacant, undeveloped property. The future land use shows blank to the west, which there's no land designation for that property. And to the east, it's single-family residential. The current zoning is current use, which is a temporary hold development. It's held in that state until the property is either rezoned to a classification that is compliant with the land use plan for that area. Here's the proposed subdivision. It shows the 3 lots. Lot 1 and Lot 2 would be residential lots. Lot 3 there to the south is a conservation lot where the floodplain exists. Staff summary and recommendation from CU to A1 is a lateral zone. As I mentioned earlier, there are 3 lots, 2 residential lots, and 1 conservation lot. All 3 lots are vacant and undeveloped. The development proposal is consistent with the development pattern in the area. Staff recommends approval. I do want to also mention that a subdivision case will be required to subdivide the property into 3 lots. That's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition to this case today? Is the applicant present? Thank you. Any questions for the applicant from the commissioners? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the change of zoning on case Z220013.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes, and we'll see you back here for the subdivision case. Next subdivision case, zoning case, Z230014, applicant Benjamin Mercer. This is a request to change zoning to institutional for an after-school care program at an existing church and remove split zoning, which is currently C1 and C3. This is in the Forestdale area.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from this case.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chapman. This property is located at 1140 Pratt Highway. This is the area view of the property. I did want to point out, as I did earlier, that this lot consists of 5 lots of record, which is where the church is located there on Pratt Highway, and the property located behind it is an acreage tract. It's all on one parcel, though. The existing land use is institutional and vacant undeveloped property. The future land use is single-family residential. The current zoning is commercial and industrial. This is a bird's eye view of the property. To the left there, it shows the church surrounded by the parking lot and the buffer, which is part of the I-3 zoning. Staff summary and recommendation. This lot consists of a 16,944 square two-story building that's built in 1960, which is the church. It complies with the land use policy and comprehensive plan. The church has been advised that a subdivision case will be required if the footprint of the church is changed because of the 5 recorded lots of record, and the area, I can't think what I'm trying to say, and the rear part of the church, I'm sorry. In its current state, it will be fine, but if they change the lot, they will need to subdivide that into, have that resurveyed into one lot. Staff recommends approval. That's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition to this zoning case today? Is our applicant here? Welcome. Any questions from the commissioners? And hearing none, how about a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the change on zoning on case Z230014.
Mr. Chair, I second that motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Any other business for today? We are adjourned. Thank y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. What business did you have?
Mr. Chairman, my name is John Barnes. The property that she discussed before was Z230013, and my property at the Jefferson to it. And I noticed there was some staff summaries and recommendations for it, and they are not on the sheet that was passed out. Can I get a copy of those staff summary and recommendations for Z230013?
Mr. Brown, is that the case he's talking about? Oh, sorry.
She'll give you a copy. She'll give you a copy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
You're
on
welcome.
Westwood Road.
The,
If you don't mind, let's get your name and address.
Okay, John Barnes, BRNES, 670 Longwood Place, Gardendale, and my property is adjacent to this Z230013. Thank you, sir.
glad to help you. Thank you. All right, we're now adjourned. Y'all have a good day. This is much shorter than last month. Just keep it up.
Yes, next month's going to be shorter than this one.
Good to see you.
And see the lady in the front row for your parking ticket validation.
No.
Have a good day.
Michael, you got anything you need to sign?
Where's that?
You're slipping, man. You're dressing up for me, but you're slipping, man.
See you later.